Role of courts in protecting human rights. मानवाधिकारों की सुरक्षा में न्यायालयों की भूमिका. Human rights are the fundamental rights guaranteed to every individual by virtue of being human. They are essential for ensuring dignity, equality, and liberty. Courts, as the guardians of the Constitution, play a crucial role in upholding and protecting these rights. In India, the judiciary ensures the protection of human rights through its interpretations, judgments, and activism. Constitutional provisional provisions for human rights, मानवाधिकारों के संवैधानिक प्रावधान, भारतीय संविधान नागरिकों और गैर नागरिकों को कई मानवाधिकार प्रदान करता है. 1. Fundamental rights, मौलिक अधिकार. Article 14, equality before the law, कानून के समक्ष समानता. Article 19, freedom of speech and expression, वाक और अभिव्यक्ति की स्वतंत्रता. Article 21, right to life and personal liberty, जीवन और स्वतंत्रता का अधिकार. 2. Directive principles of state policy, राज्य के नीति निर्देशक तत्व. These ensure social and economic justice, सामाजिक और आर्थिक न्याय. Courts interpret these provisions to safeguard human rights effectively. Role of courts in protecting human rights, न्यायालयों की भूमिका. 1. Guardian of the Constitution, संविधान का संरक्षक. Courts ensure that laws and government actions do not violate human rights. Example, Kesavananda Bharati case, 1973. The Supreme Court ruled that the basic structure of the Constitution cannot be altered, ensuring the protection of fundamental rights. 2. Judicial activism. Judicial activism. Courts take proactive steps to protect human rights, even in the absence of formal complaints. Example, Vishaka Guidelines, 1997. Guidelines to prevent sexual harassment at workplaces were laid down by the Supreme Court. 3. Public interest litigation. Public interest litigation, PL, allows individuals or groups to approach courts on behalf of those who cannot represent themselves. Example, Bandua Mukti Morcha case, 1984. The Supreme Court took measures to eradicate bonded labour. Expansion of fundamental rights, मौलिक अधिकारों का विस्तार. The judiciary interprets Article 21 broadly to include rights like the right to privacy, education, and a clean environment. Example, Puttaswamy case, 2017. The Supreme Court recognised the right to privacy as a fundamental right. 5. Protection against state actions, Rajikayo ki viruddh suraksha. Courts protect individuals from arbitrary actions by the state. Example, Maneka Gandhi case, 1978. The Supreme Court ruled that the right to personal liberty cannot be curtailed arbitrarily. As judicial mechanisms for human rights protection, मानवाधिकारों की रक्षा के न्यायिक तंत्र. 1. Writ jurisdiction, writ kshetraadhikar. Courts can issue writs under Article 32, Supreme Court, and Article 2 to 26, High Courts, to enforce fundamental rights. Types of writs: habeas corpus, व्यक्ति को अदालत में प्रस्तुत करना, mandamus certiorari, prohibition and quo warranto. 2. Special courts and tribunals, विशेष न्यायालय और न्यायाधिकरण. Fast-track courts and human rights commissions complement the judiciary in protecting rights. Role of high courts, उच्च न्यायालयों की भूमिका. High courts have the power to address human rights violations under Article 226. Example, the Delhi High Court has addressed numerous cases related to prisoners' rights. 4. International influence, Prabhav. Indian courts often refer to international human rights conventions and treaties while delivering judgments. Example, CEDAW, Convention on the Elimination of All Forms of Discrimination Against Women, was referred to in the Vishaka case. Challenges faced by courts. 1. Backlog of cases, Mamloka Lembar. Delay in delivering justice affects the timely protection of human rights. 2. Accessibility issues. High legal costs and procedural complexities hinder marginalised communities from accessing courts. 3. Political interference, Thaksip. Judicial independence is sometimes undermined by external pressures. 4. Implementation challenges, Kamin ki samasya. Court orders are not always implemented effectively by authorities. Landmark cases in human rights protection. 1. Olga Tellis versus Bombay Municipal Corporation, 1985. The Supreme Court recognized the right to livelihood as a part of Article. Role of courts in protecting human rights.